It finally happened. Goro, in a way, he snapped in this episode of Darling in the Franxx. The poor dude was under so much stress, he finally just couldn't contain his own selfishness that he yelled at Hiro. Now, I know many might put Goro down in this episode, say he was being selfish or he should understand where Hiro's coming from. And at the end of the day, I think Hiro is correct for doing what he wants to do. But at the same time, you cannot deny what Goro did say about Hiro was accurate. Number one, Hiro is selfish. I mean, he is a good person, but he's very selfish. He always is going after Zero too. And I'm not faulting Hiro for that. He loves Zero too. I'm not putting Hiro down. I'm just saying he is selfish. Well, whatever he wants, he does go for. And that's how we are as humans in the first place. But not going to get into that can of worms. The thing is that he has always been selfish. Always wanting to get what he wants. For instance, be with Zero too. And Goro has always been that individual that, has always been selfless. He's never really went out of his way to try to grab something and obtain it. Or, actually take his desire and all that. He's always just sacrificed his own happiness or whatever he wants for the sake of others, which was, him, letting Ichigo go after Hiro. We've always seen this. So Goro's always been like a good man. He has a nickname in the Darling in the Franxx community called, Gobro. So, I mean, he is a very fan favorite character. He's a fan favorite character many like, and seeing him in this episode, many might not like him after this episode, but I disagree. I actually like Goro a lot more because it humanized him, and we got to see how he was emotionally wrecked in this episode, because a lot of things have been happening in his life, besides just the whole event with, fighting the Klaxosaurs and all that. Now with the new revelation that your planet could potentially die, to, everybody starving, to pregnancy now, to Papa, being completely gone, and they're the only ones to really defend for themselves. So, I mean, the way everything's going, Goro's under a lot of stress, and he's always been that guy that's been like the anchor for the entire group, keeping them in line and allowing them to remain happy or do what they need to do. And you can see where that burden was slowly starting to stress him out, especially seeing Ichigo throughout the episode or throughout these recent times being very stressed overworking herself, because we know how much he cares about her. I mean, she was obviously overworking herself. She got sick and collapsed in this episode, so that eventually kind of led to Goro's breakdown, where he started yelling at Hiro. So personally, even though I'm on Hiro's side, I don't disagree with Goro. His entire viewpoint and what he wanted, I cannot put the man down for it. I think the man was in the right for his position and what's been going on, but at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, Hiro is doing the correct choice because it's going to save all of humanity if they manage to get it done right. So it's really just comes down to which is more important, the current time, for instance, everybody being happy at this moment, or looking forward to the future and seeking happiness for countless generations ahead. It really comes down to what you want. Are you wanting to sacrifice your happiness for the sake of others, or obtain your happiness and then you sacrifice everybody else for the future generations? That's basically what it comes down to. The man also did kind of apologize. He realized how selfish he was in that moment, and that he was doing everything for him. He wasn't really doing it for the entire group. The reason why he yelled at Hiro was because he knew for a fact that, he's just tired of it. He's tired of Hiro running off, causing Ichigo to be very upset and stressed out, and that is why he yelled at him. At the end of the day, even though he kind of was standing up for the entirety of the group, he was doing it mainly for himself, nobody else. Nobody really asked him to do that. So that's why he realized he was very selfish, and he even admitted that. So that makes me like Goro as a character even more now, just because of the way his character was displayed in this episode. But okay, so let's get into the main topic of discussion, which is the stuff with Zero 2. So we come to find out that Zero 2 is not quote unquote dead, but she's not really alive at this time. For instance, her body has been completely separated from her main subconsciousness, for instance, her mind. So it's kind of like her soul has left her body and went into the mech. That's pretty much what's going on here. And so even though the body is still moving somehow, we don't really understand that link. That's not really been explained at all, which I hope that is kind of explained. But anyways, Zero Two's body even though she's no longer there, her body still does move, like, unconsciously, and when she, sustains wounds up in space, her body also gets the wounds. You see gashes pop up on her throughout the entirety of the episode, which shows that she was in a very big, colossal fight. Now, I think at that time, when you first saw the gashes appearing on her body, I think many probably already knew what was going on. It's kind of obvious that, she was fighting in space, and that her body was taking damage from it, and so I think that wasn't really that big of a shocker when that was revealed towards the end of the episode. But the point still stands, though, is that right now, Zero Two, she's not technically living. She's not really alive right now in her body, and it's kind of like Hiro has been completely separated from his loved one. His loved one is out there in space fighting to protect everybody, while he's down on the ground not being able to do anything at all, and they're suffering and not even being able to feed themselves right now. So, Hiro's obviously in a very dark spot. Like, he doesn't really know what to do. And finally, he found some hope to where he can fly into space and be reunited with the one he loves. Now, the question is, can Zero Two get back in her body? That is something I'm very curious about. I mean, I think it's simpler said than done. For instance, allowing her to, connect with the FranXX, but it's not as simple as probably to remove her from the FranXX and put her back into her body. I don't think it's going to be that simple at the end of the day, so I'm a little bit concerned. Is Zero Two pretty much done? Is she effectively dead? Is she going to die in the mech and all that, and that's it? I mean, it also makes you wonder, if the FranXX does die, does that mean that her body dies? Because it's obvious that her body, is taking damage. So there is some form of link or connection between the body and the FranXX, but even then, though, it makes me wonder, can she go back into it? And if, the FranXX does die, does she die as well? I'm just very curious on how that actual connection is working right now, because that's not really been explained whatsoever. Now, like I said, I do hope that is kind of explained before everything is said and done with Darling in the FranXX, because there's not many episodes left. So Zero Two, she's in space fighting, obviously, and Hiro, he wants to go up there, and obviously a spaceship has appeared for they can go up into space, and it wouldn't really be, a Studio Trigger series, even though A1 is working with them. It really wouldn't have, like, a trigger attachment if, it didn't have space battles or something. And so seeing a spaceship pop up and them going into space, it's a common thing you would see. It's obviously like something like Gurren Lagann and stuff like that. So, it's not really too shocking, especially when already aliens have been introduced and, planet wipers and all that literally leech off of planets. It's not too surprising to see our characters going into space and probably about to fight an entire Verm army. But here's the thing, though. With Hiro and them going into space, there's a lot of potential setup here. There's two things that could potentially happen, okay? I highly doubt Verm is going to win, okay? So I'm not even going to add that to the equation. I want to be honest here. I doubt they would win. If they do win, that means we're going to get a season 2. And we're going to have, like, a new cast or something. But like I said, I doubt that. So the two options that could potentially happen for the story right now is, A, Hiro's entire squad, they go up into space, they reunite with Zero Two, and obviously, and they get in a big fight. And basically, they kind of obliterate Verm, but at the same time, they sacrifice themselves. For instance, all of Hero's squad, all of his friends, they die, and Verm is obliterated as well, but, the people on the ground get to rebuild society and then be able to fight back against Verm when they eventually do come back, which could lead to a season 2 if, Studio Trigger and A1 wants to do that. But the point is, most of Hero's squad might sacrifice themselves just to be able to save all of humanity. Or number 2, you have it to where they win, everybody, gets out alive, and, Zero Two is the only one that sacrifices herself. Maybe Zero Two is going to die and leave Hiro alone, or Hiro's going to die with Zero Two, and they're all going to be able to come back. It's definitely something that Studio Trigger and A1 would probably do, since this is an anime original. That is definitely something that could kind of send, the finale off pretty well for Darling in the FranXX. So that is something I think could potentially happen. Now, let's just say, on a good note, let's say, everything goes well, okay? Let's say they do win. Now, option 3. They destroy Verm and all that. Everybody survives. Even Zero Two survives, the FranXX and all that. She comes back to, the planet. Could she ever reconnect back into her body? See, that's another potential ending. Even if they win, could she get back in her body? So, they could still be pretty much a very sad and dark ending, depending on where the writers want to take the story. So, I'm very fascinated on where the story will go from this point forward. But let's talk about, Nana. Let's talk about, the options available for humanity and what they need to do to be able to survive on this dead, dying planet. So, as we know, thanks to what Verm has been doing for a long time now, they've been literally sucking the life out of the planet to where there's, like, nothing left. And the magma energy, which was from the Calaxosaurs, was being used up, still being used used even in this episode, even after Verm is gone, which in turn is hurting the planet. And because of the magma energy being all used up, the life itself of the planet, the soil, is pretty much dead. It can't even sustain life enough to be able to grow anything to live off of. So they're realizing the repercussions of what humanity has been doing for such a long time. I mean, we were already very aware of this. Thanks to what Verm was doing and all that, using magma energy, desert spots kept popping up all over the planet to where it is like it is now. So it makes a lot of sense why, with the magma energy being used, the planet was legitimately dying. And that's kind of, you know, sad, but at the same time, there's only one spot on the planet that seems to be relatively good, which is Hope. If they manage to use that spot where they're going to be going to that has life on it, original soil that hasn't really been tampered with, then they will be able to, you know, replenish the planet and be able to continue living on, and the planet will eventually, take a long time, but eventually be able to sustain life quite a bit once again. But yeah, that's the setup, and so I like this direction of the story, basically, you know, kind of recreating the planet, rebuilding from the ground up once again, literally creating something from scratch, or like a new Garden of Eden. That's kind of how you can view that life on the planet where they're going to be going to. Now, speaking of life on the planet, we have the stuff going on with Kokoro and Mitsuru, and I have a gut feeling that Kokoro and them are probably going to stay behind and not go with Hero Squad. I mean, that's what I really think, because the whole situation with Kokoro and, you know, Mitsuru, them staying behind would signify new life, a new beginning for the planet, and so I don't think the writers would probably want them to go. I could see Mitsuru going, but I know for a fact Kokoro is probably going to stay behind because she has a child, and she wants to have it, and, you know, it'll be a new dawn for the planet. We also have the stuff with Nana. So Nana, I didn't know how much I missed her until she reappeared in this episode and started helping everybody out. I was like, yo, I missed her. I mean, besides just, you know, how thick she is, I'm like, I miss Nana's, helpful, you know, character, her voice actor as well, and how she kind of helped everybody out. I mean, she realized that she was in a bad position. She realized that, you know, she might not be able to be that helpful, but she actually managed to comfort someone in this episode, so I was like, you know what, I like Nana so much. I'm glad she still lived, and I'm glad she's gonna be like the new, you know, I guess, parent or adult for the children to be able to learn from example to continue on moving with their life and not just die like nothing. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to this week's episode of Darling in the Franxx. Great episode, a lot of setup. Cannot wait to see where the story's going to go from this point forward. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I love you guys. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, it doesn't always notify you when a video has been uploaded. So if you want to be notified for when I upload a new video, you know, click the bell icon, because then there you go. But anyways, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Stay healthy, stay safe, no matter where you live, and no matter what time you watch this. Chibi out.